Hi, it's Chastia. Hold on, let me see. I've got a message. New managing Myers can support your channel. Managing moderators. I do need to put some of those on here, but it's not why I'm here today. So, what's up? It's Chastia. It is June 30th, 2024. And I'm not going to show my face. Just because and I'll be honest, I'm on here. There's some information I need to get out to y'all just so y'all can kind of pay attention and pick up what's going on with this wheel flip that's happening right now that I'm sure a lot of you are feeling in different ways within your energy body. And my brain is working kind of slower. I'm a little dizzy and my head's a little foggy because Venus just exited Sirius B. We're on the very outskirts of it. And I don't know if you watched that video that I did, and thank y'all so much because the numbers were up on that, and I'm so super grateful. On the video right before this one is all about the June 30th to July 1st and a time loop that we had been on for some years for sure within the Ascended Collective that was tuning everybody else within a time loop. And we're seeing that unfold. And everything with the storms that are coming in with the one that they're calling Beryl, and then the one that's called Chris right behind it, which I think is absolutely spot on. They're turning on CERN July 5th, which is the exact day they turned it on in 2022. And in 2022, what was going on with the collective at that point, whenever the darker organizations that were doing black magic for the government and for the entertainment industries and for the industry and for NATO and all of that, that were attempting to bind us back into a simulation, and all that happened when I went raw for the collective in 2022, all of that is why these storms are coming in. All that they did in 2022 to the collective, because whenever they did it to me, it wasn't just me, it was the entire collective that they were doing it to. And that's everybody else that had leadership positions within every single DNA strand down here, and every single sequence that had been built off these 32 DNA sequences. These are the, okay. I mean, if you can only imagine, I mean, why, and think of it, why is a hurricane so, when we think about a hurricane, why are we worried about it? Because it's moving, but the houses aren't, the land isn't, the windows aren't, the tables aren't, they're not moving. The signs aren't, the trees aren't moving. And so that force comes through and just boom, shakalaka, knocks it down. Well, when you're trying to bind an entire collective back into a simulation, then you just put concrete shoes, or tried to, on every single thing that's down here, including sedation layers, in order to keep that energy basically from here to here. These are the first houses. This is Aries, and this is just the macro colors. So this is Aries, this is Taurus, this all of this is Gemini, all this is Cancer, all this is Leo, and then these are Virgo. Okay, Libra starts right here. So what, and I'm kind of jumping around. I'm sorry. My mind is just kind of blah. So this is why these hurricanes are lining up. This is why that energy is having to come through. Because as far as a wheel orb, because that wheel moves and it moves over time. Like I've been saying for a while. In Egypt, when we were in Egyptian timelines, when we were in Egypt, Aries wasn't in the first house. This happened after the dinosaur stuff and trying to take us to Neanderthal times. It ended up just blue and yellow. So it's basically like all these colors got so far out and wiped that then all you could really see from where we are in astronomy, where the collective is, where what we call Earth, which is the heart, which is wherever we are in space, wherever that wheel has ended up in space and stopped. Aries is way out. Alpha Draconic, notice too, is in Aries. So in Alpha Draconic, I've shown it on here many times, the constellation of Alpha Draconic is massive. This whole wheel basically operates inside Alpha Draconic, because Alpha Draconic is going to take you out. That's why Andromeda is where? In Aries. Andromeda's in Aries because this would be like the bottom of the ocean but it's not. It's more the bottom of it's more like the way out to of the cosmos. Whereas Libra, which is opposite, because everything in astronomy, you remember, it's not 2D, it's an orb. So if Libra is going to send a message to Aries, which is how it works, then it's got to cut through all these colors. It can't just jump it. Okay? Well, if Libra is a hinge, because Libra is that's why it's balanced. Libra is a hinge to the light and the dark side, everything that was getting held down when we weren't moving, and then it just became darker and darker and darker and darker. Well, and then that was where the M suns, and then Libras basically got split. This is why all your DNA codes and everything to do about the human body, and Arcturus and the healing and even the shadow feminine, all of that was made in Libra, even the divine feminine, because that energy was connected to what you would have called the dark side. Well, all that energy is flipping to the first house. So the wheel of Aries, the foundation of it, and this is from an etheric perspective, as this orb is unfolding and moving and getting carried to a different place in space. So I'm guided to kind of talk about that because we really did go through a delta portal, because this is where the 13 families, all of that was made in the constellation of Alpha Draconic. And there's the snake has tail, and it goes and it circles and it circles and it circles, and then it comes up, and then there's a horseshoe that's, notice 1 on this side, notice 2 on this side, and you've got to hit this C curve, which is basically your throat. And then on the other side of the dragon's head's up here, and then there's one more little loop right here on the other side, and that's basically Andromeda, okay? So these loops in the snake became these wheels of time. That little wheel and curve and loop in the snake, you can a wheel setting was based there. So, like for instance, and this isn't necessarily 100% historically correct, but I'll give you an analogy. One of those little loops in the bottom of the tail would be like Egyptian time, and in that time the entire collective was set to Leo in the first house. That's what was going on. How many thousands of years did the collective were circling in that energy to get higher and higher and higher and higher, and then at some point the ones in the lead are going to come out, and they're going to go, 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 and that would be an evolutionary ascension. And then boom, you landed into another part of the snake, and then we had another 24,000 year count where everybody was in that part of the snake. And then the same thing happened again. And this is how this wheel and these colors, even how you even see these colors down here. This is how color is built. If you know anything about color and the layers of color, and here's your primary colors, you add blood to that, and what do you get? You get primary colors. You get red, yellow, and blue. Well, you can't project these colors down here from an Orion red, blue, and green projector without a whole bunch of pixels and a whole bunch of little bits. It's not going to come through in one direct ray. It's all got to come through this little 3 colors over here, okay? Is a great example. And I know this might be, just try to follow me, okay? Really, we need physics tarot cards right now. That's what we need. We need physics tarot cards for me to be able to explain to you what's going on. Because in the collective, it's going on in 3 different stages, depending on how much frequency vibration you've already embodied within this whole thing. I don't care where the hell your sun is. I don't care. I really don't. It don't matter. You gotta be able to go from here to here and back around. And each one of these colors and is life lessons, it's mastery and different energies. Each ray has a set of human earth experiences that is sent to you in order for you to show that you can handle the amount of power or gifts or telepathy that are involved in it, in holding it here in this lower density of what we call the reality. And if you can't make it all the way through, you'll get stopped. And then there'll be experiences that show up. We call these Saturn returns. We call these Saturn cycles. We call them 7-year, 15-year, 13-year, 14-year cycles. Well, ding, 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 ding. To get through Libra and to master all of Libra, if you've been way over here and way out here, and now you're coming from both sides and you got to master Libra, well, that's a lot of balancing that you got to do. It's a lot of communication to mass groups to organizations. You have to be able to process the information in your mind that nobody else is picking up. You have to learn how to communicate that to various groups of people all in one setting. Is a great example. There's nothing wrong with any of it. Every single one of the lessons has a mass reason for needing to do it, but it is what it is. This is ascension. So my point is, and going back to the wheel, okay, Aries, which we would say is in the first house right now, this whole thing, here's Libra, here's Aries. Then if I could flip my camera around and be like this, well, then here'd be the dark side. Here'd be the higher houses. So here's the lower houses. The human race is really used to working in these energies, because this is why in July, July 1 and this whole time flip even was keeping that energy stuck right here, to where, it was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, the energies that the human race is even used to dealing with. Aries in the first house, I am a human. I got family, I got this and that. I can communicate. I can talk to people. I know that in fourth house, Cancer energy. I'm in a bigger family organization. Somehow I'm connected to other beings down here in a different set. No matter what it is, there's a gazillion of them. I know that I'm connected and I'm talking to others. Leo, now it's going into my muscles. Now I'm connecting it with the people. It's not etheric. Now I'm in the physical. I'm doing it in Leo energy. I'm commanding my reinstatement of who I am in my body right now in Leo. That's whenever you get to Regulus Regulus, which is the master decan of Leo. Then you go into Virgo. Virgo is, okay, now I've embodied it in the physical. I'm talking to all these people. I'm making waves. Then when you get to Virgo, you gotta realize everything you just did in Leo, that you did in the physical, made higher and lower dimensional energy pockets, and they might beat you up a little bit, because you didn't realize that all that moving around and all that running around and yelling at everybody and I'm a superstar, it's me, and Leo, that you end up having to deal with that life lesson. That's why everybody in Regulus, I don't care who you are, if you've got Regulus energy, you've lost a lot of money in your life. You've gotten just far enough to know that you can freaking do it and be the biggest success you ever thought in whatever it is, and then you will lose it all. Because now you got to remember that it wasn't just about you. That's that lesson going into Virgo. Now you got to deal with all the energy that you drummed up in order to make yourself successful. Now that's a normal human learning thing, isn't it? I mean, nobody can just jump that. It's a part of the process of being human. But this is where we see celebrities fall flat on their face. Why? Because we got in, they weren't, somebody else was controlling their Virgo energy. They weren't. Management was controlling the Virgo energy. We don't want you to think about that at all. No. Don't worry about the people. Don't worry. No. You just, now what do you want for lunch? Who do you want to go to dinner with? Don't worry about where we're sending you. Don't worry about what's in the tub what's in the tub. Don't worry about what's underneath the plane. Don't just ignore those bags right there. We're just putting them on your plane flight. We're chartering, but we're sending your kids to you. That's Leo to Virgo. Okay? Then you get into Libra. Now Libra's having to balance all that energy out from everything that the humans are running around doing, and not paying attention to what energy. I just put my, whoops. I don't know if that's coming up. What energy is on this side that this side was making. That this side was making. So what we found out through this ascension process, through breaking open the wheel, through everything, is that this is what these societies, this is what entertainment, the industry, blah, 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 NATO, government, I mean, everybody that's putting on the puppet show right now, all they were doing was running this energy. This is why we're like, wait a minute, how are they getting so successful and they're not doing anything? Why they got us running around here freaking doing, we're us little humans, we're down here doing everything, but they don't do shit. No, they weren't. All they were doing was managing your energy for you. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Is that the body pairs? Can you, Northern Lights, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever, man. I'm in a time loop with, that's like 2018. Can you can you tell me more about what you're asking me with that? Because I think the answer is correct, but I can't fully explain it to you without knowing more of the body pains. Oh, not pairs, pains. Yes. Yes. Let me keep going because the answer is absolutely freaking yes. When you're dealing with Libra, especially now, I want to give you Dr. Dawn's on here. And I just went through all of that to show y'all when you're talking about going through stargates, when we're talking about going through portals, this is what you're going through. I just got chills all over my legs. Pay attention, because this energy, this is why this is the brand, y'all. This is the brand that everybody was brandoning. Do you understand? Brandon! Brandon! This is the brand. Whenever this house, when Aries has to flip to here, there's going to be a part of your etheric body that's going to feel this flip. And then there's going to be a part of your etheric body that's going to go straight through the core. You follow me? So our etheric bodies are built up. Whenever you get to Virgo and you get to Libra, now you're in a cloud, basically. Kind of, you can think of it like cloud data. If you want to think of it like that. A collective body is like a bunch of data that's stored in a higher energetic. Whenever your etheric body embodies up to that, and you have to intertwine in that energy. Now in Libra, this is where you're getting you're upgrading your template. This is where you're upgrade your template, which is why this is this dark red. And then you get into, now you've got to balance that out. So it's like you upgrade your template, you upgrade your body that's like a stem holding on this. If I had like a pin hold through this and I had a pole coming straight up it, and your body's growing, and now you're holding it in this realm, okay? Libra is going to be where at these beginning degrees right here is where you start seeing, oh my gosh, there's like 5 of me. What the hell? Like, did I go through a weird printer and there's 5 of me walking around here? Because whenever you embody this template, then to get to here, which is Algorab, what you're doing is balancing, because this is the balance point of the whole wheel. This is Algorab. This is 12 to 14 degrees of Libra. And between here and here is all just a bunch of 33 timelines that were written on your DNA, your code, your whatever. When you get to Spica and Arcturus, now you've gone through this piece and you're embodying all of, because that's when you're like, oh my God, okay, there is 5 of me, because my energy is so big, there's going to be 5 of me, and I'm connected to at least 5 walking around here. I'm connected to at least 3 walking around here. That's like the 3-headed dragon. That's like the 7-headed dragon. That's what it is. Because from an etheric lower perspective, you started out as a dragon or a dinosaur, and then you grew 3 heads from here to here because everything else was holding still, and they just spinning the energy from over here. That's why nobody saw you. They only saw the 2 celebrities that were hinged to you. I hope that makes sense. Arcturus. When you get into this energy, this is the first time that pink comes in. The macro color for Arcturus is pink. But Arcturus and we think of Arcturus as the highest energetic healers that are down here. But 3 ascensions ago, you would have called this the devil. That's the divine feminine. 3 ascensions ago, you either went to Regulus or you went to Arcturus. Well, Regulus was the kings and queens. Regulus was the ones who were named. Arcturus was the ones who were burnt at the stake because they wanted to get rid of all of us that had any connection over here so that they could take control over it. When you get to Izar, this is where Alpha Draconic and Arcturian, this is Excalibur's sword. This is what we had to pull out of Antarctica that was blocking all of this energy. And it's the only one that has an Alpha Drac ray piece, DNA strand, that comes into the realm. And it merges an Arcturian perfected internal organs, telepathy, your hands are working again, your fingertips energy's coming out again, you're all open. That's Arcturus. Everything on the inside of your organs and everything is working. The Alpha Drac in it is what got it down into this dimension, which gave you your third eye, which gave you your connectivity to everybody else, because that's how it was tuned. But the problem was the Alpha Drac had control and dominant energy over the entire wheel process because of the telepathy and the connectivity within your DNA and where that energy came from. When you have a lot of that energy, everybody's got that energy in their body. But if you have a lot of Alpha Draconic energy, which is more of the reptilian energy, no matter if it was done onto you, if you took it on, or if you were original white Draco, because remember, I mean, we had the white Draco just as bad as you had the black Draco, okay? That's how we have telepathy and are communicating and meeting in the ethers and being able to get out signals. And this is what propaganda was all made for. Because if you show one or two of us, then everybody sees it. It imprints it. Well, that reptilian energy was also controlling your spinal cord. It was controlling spinal fluids. It was controlling brain fluids. It ended up in Alpha Draconic had to deal with who? Zeta Reticuli. What's Zeta? The grays. What's that? The gray matter in your brain. So I've said all that because remember, we've got the majority of the masses that this energy right here in Libra is flipping to over here. It's having to flip from the 7th house into the 1st house. Why? All the humans need to connect all this stuff. All the humans, and this has to balance out. It has to. This has gotten way too top heavy. This is a delta into way the fuck out in space. This is the portal that the whole human race is going to end up threading through over in Aries, because it's kind of like we took the Earth. It really is. When this is finally over, it's like we moved Earth to Alpha Drac's backyard. It's kind of like the hole that they had the divine feminine in and set up 13 stars, which ended up being more because it went on for way too long, all around the divine feminine like a rainbow, and every single one of them had a hook into, like you're making a fan, a peacock feather, even peacock feathers. Well, wherever that divine feminine is basically where the entire human race is going to end up in space when we're all done with this. Because we took over their DNA strands. So it's like we're showing up on their front lawn. Oh my God, I just had a burp and it was like in the middle of, I've never felt that before. Like an air something pocket just came out of my... So this is why you can't skip ascension. Because first, I mean, if you're going to be with the human race, and by the time 2032, pretty much everybody's going to have gone through this. This is where we become they. Because we took over the ship. We took over the station. We took over the Alpha Draconic. It was too old. It had already been processed so many times, it became obsolete. But in order to do that, first you got to move this Libra energy into the first house so that the rest of the collective and the masses and the vaccinated even and all those blocks that were put in their neurons, in their brain, in their spinal cord to block your coccyx from getting a full connection up to your star chakra and to become crysted, you call it, which is activating your third eye, which is the same thing as activating your third eye and getting a full connection from the very bottom of your spine all the way up to this top of your spine, so that you can send out energy all the way up. All that has to be done, and the entire collective is moving to, I mean, the entire collective and the foundation of the wheel is now flipped to Libra in the first house. Now, all of us already have the energy for this. Every single one of us have connections to everything that I speak of on here. It's removing the blocks, just like the mucus that was around our lungs, just like the gray matter that had been filled with whatever the F that has to be blown out in order for two neurons to connect properly. So the whole foundation has flipped, the whole wheel has flipped, because now we're going to start kind of going the other, it's having to go this direction and then it'll go this direction, but for this time period right here, this is where we're at. Now, that's going to be giving people headaches. This is also going to be giving mucus stuff. You're going to be super ridiculously dizzy because you're not used to having this much data in that much space. Because you're used to this being your first house. You're not used to having to deal with all that yellow, okay? The more the healers, the readers, the ancients, even, we're all moving. We've already done this part. We've already connected this part. Everything that we've done in telepathy and how we're working this whole ascension as a process, because it is a process, it's a processional process. This ain't the first time a lot of this has happened. It's the first time that we're coming out of the whole fucking wheel. The ones of us who have already done this part, that actually are making this happen for the collective, because if we wouldn't have been able to get Libra in the first house and flip this orb, just basically all these beings gone. You just lost gravity, you flew off the planet, there's nothing there because you're coming out of a simulation that's no longer holding your energy. So realize that what I'm talking to you about right now and how this process is working, this is divine intervention. This is divine intervention. But this is how it's hitting the collective. Now, going back to the healers, the readers, all of us that have been, all the divine feminines that have been cleaning the planets, cleaning the cosmos, yada, 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 se quiere monte. Ours is a little bit smaller, because we've already embodied the Libra. That's how we have these new connections. We've already pulled Excalibur's sword. That's why this motherfucker's wide open. Even in Antarctica, there's no longer, Libra's no longer cut out anymore. This is how we spun the block. No Jenny and no low. Ding, ding, ding. So for us, it's getting smaller. Cancer in the first house. Cancer in the first house. So over here in Libra, when you're dealing with spinal fluid, brain stuff, headaches, new thought patterns, you have a hard time speaking the words that are coming in because the data coming in your mind is so much more than your words even have. That's Libra in the first house. Cancer is going to be more in your body. It's going to be your heart valve now. It's going to be the overall collective mind merging in with your mind patterns to be able to deliver more information, because you've already basically mastered brain to your mouth to an extent. So now you can get more. This is why my fingernails are blue, because Venus just left Sirius B. This is Sirius B. This is Sirius A. This is Sirius C. And it don't work like this. It works like this. Like you're having to thread a needle. It's going to go from A. Makes sense with the colors, right? It's going to go A, C, B. So right here, this is when it threads into your body in order to start understanding these multiple splits of Gemini and blah, 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 blah. And on this side with Virgo. So it's like the whole thing, if it was going to go like this, it would go like this. Okay? This is where everything's going into your body. This was Venus just left this degree. Mercury's here right now, and the sun just turned on circulation. This is collective body codes that we had to change to evolve the human body. So if you're having a lot of body pains right now, it's because this just hit the first house. It's like putting new fuel or putting an upgraded fuel into an engine that's never ran it before. You're gonna have to tinker with it a little bit, because now you've got to put a faster carburetor because it goes too fast or whatever it is. That's Cancer in the first house. Basically, and I know there are 3 stages because you've got Sagittarius over here, but basically Sagittarius in the first house became, is what built all of this from the dark side, because we were the ones that were like, wait a minute, again, back to the white Draco. We weren't here to bring this energy in order to control the human race. No, this is also Enoch Enlil stuff. Sagittarius in the first house, that's people like me. That's beings like me who have been on this thing for 7 years, have been working together, knew that we were cleaning the collective, knew we were cleaning the cosmos, knew that there was a bigger plan. We were connected into all of it. But even, and we were the ones that made all these flips possible. But even all of us that were Sagittarius in the first house, it's like we're weaving back into these 2 different groups, depending on where you're at frequency wise. If you need to, because some of you already have all of this internally, as far as your fluids working properly, blah, 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 blah. You've got all your neuron connections. It's your body that needs to get cleared out because you're not able to make that full connection. And others, it's the body that's blocking you because you've got to get the mucus out of the way. You've got to get whatever it is, speakers, cleaned out the speakers, clean the dust out of the fan is great analogies, in order to pick up this energy. And that's what's varying your frequency as far as what you can pick up and bring in, even from the ethers, and what you can do in the ethers with other beings. These are, this is the groups that you're working with. So once a couple of years pass, and because what we ordered yesterday was the entire foundation to be balanced. Now remember that whenever I'm saying we ordered the foundation of the realm to be balanced, remember in the beginning when I was talking about what's the devastation part of a hurricane? A bunch of stuff isn't moving and then you're coming with full force. That's balance. It has to balance. That energy has to, that wind has to be able to come through there, and it has to be able to sustain it or flip it or change it, because that's the new path. Not only that, that's going to keep happening year after year after year. There and the ground is going to change. New land masses will come up. Land masses will break off. Why? Because it's in the path of a freaking channel that's always going to be coming through there. It always has been too. That energy always was coming through into the Gulf. That's why the Gulf is formed like that. Looks like a little pond from real high up, right? Well, that's why it's there. That's why it looks like a cup, because it was being managed from way up here. That energy was always coming in and hitting the Gulf, except no, it was happening from way up here. Now all this is coming up. We had to flip it so that it can start, so everything can start moving and growing again the way it needs to. But it's gonna have to, things are gonna have to change. It's got to change. The same thing with the land. That's happening with the body, because the church is not a church. The church is the land from the Most High perspective. We didn't come down here to take over the Catholics. We didn't come back to take over Methodists. We didn't come back to deal with Zionists. No, the church is the land. The church is the earth, what we would call it. The whole thing. All the way down to the core, all the way up. What we have done with this brand is these colors are literally, and this is my life's work. I mean, lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of work that we have all done. Every time that we have died, been blown up, executed, whatever, in these different energy layers, left these colors behind. I just got really dizzy. Every single layer in the past 7 years that individually olive groups were mastering in order to get to the next layer, because it just takes one little ant. If you can think of a whole bunch of ants that are going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, but you can't step on the lines, you can't get in the white. All it takes is one ant to get to the red, and the whole bubble opens up and starts pulling it like this. So it's like, this is when we start talking about lifetimes. It's like, okay, some of us would die right in the middle. And then we'd have to wait all over again for a whole nother races to be birthed. But we died right there. So now there's a bridge. So then the next lifetime you came in and you made it across. Then it happened here. Then it happened here. I mean, this is why this is so much bigger than what we could ever have fathomed. Whenever I got these colors, because when I channeled these colors in the wheel, it was 2021. It was this summer, around this time, 2021, that all of these colors, and they're very specific. Even the number that is the actual hue number for these colors match up to frequency tones, because color is physics. Color is numerology in physics. In physics. I'm seeing blue lapis right now. Notice where all the blues are. This is Scorpio. Deep space, Pisces. This is Libra 3, Capricorn. The very end of Capricorn, where the conjunction happened. So in Egypt, that's why blue lapis was made, because Capricorn and Pisces was getting pulled to Libra. And this is Algorab. This is where the gold's made. This is where the gold linked in with the gemstone of the, or the whatever you call it, to make blue lapis. This is why everything was built with blue lapis, because you were pulling it from here and here, and it was all gathering right here. This is where the true Isis energy lives. Osiris was living way out here. Now, what we got a confirmation on today, and this is why I wanted to come on and do this video. A lot of you are going to see in your meditations or in your dreams, or if you're like me and you're a vivid, it's like you see everything kind of before you go to sleep when you lay down, and you start flying through portals, or you get pulled in here or pulled in there. So all 8 of you that are on right now, thank you for staying on, because I know this is a lot of information, but I want to know if you've had, I know Dawn has, because that's the one I'm going to speak of now, but anybody else, have you seen your etheric body turn into colors, or are you going through a door of something, or are you seeing more colors, or maybe you're only seeing 2 tones? Is there anybody else that started seeing that? Because I'm here to tell you, you're going to. And I just got chills again. This, where we've got full confirmation, this is alive. This now has life in all of the ethers. So Dawn, for instance, who's on my team, who is also another AB negative, her Venus was in Andromeda. Well, Andromeda was part of our problem. Andromeda leaks directly, WikiLeak. Andromeda leak and links directly to Izar, which is like this army green and pink. It's your pink and green. That pink and green that we all love. Even my sorority colors were pink and green. AKA sorority, African American sorority, pink and green. This is why. I mean, this is why all your fraternities and sports teams are the colors that they are, FYI. But from here to here, Libra, 27 degrees, goes directly to Andromeda, way out here, 27 degrees. And Dawn's Venus specifically is on Andromeda. And so we've been working with her, and she's been working with us. We've been undoing and connecting all of these from here, because all my energy's over here. I've got 6 planets all right here. That's why I know all this that I know, because I'm made to come tell you about it. I'm made to come teach it. So Izar, 27 degrees Libra, Andromeda, 27 degrees Aries. And what she saw today, after she did her yoga and laid there in meditation, was a cross. Here's Cancer. Right here in Cancer, this is where your Essene lines, your Yahshua lines, any connection into the 12 apostle lines, any connection, because all of this was formed from Sagittarius over here. This is why Cleopatra is Mary Magdalene. Same thing. You got, if you're running this energy over here, and you're running this dark side of the energy from a mass elemental perspective, you got to be Cleopatra. When the human race flipped, look, when it flipped, because remember, this is round. When it flipped, all this energy mirrored over here. This is the knowledge that the Essenes had. Then it became Mary Magdalene. Then you, instead of having a King Tut building pyramids, running the mass energetics not running the energetics, not the people, then that's how Cleo in the next timelines became Mary Magdalene, which is your brain. And now it's in your physical form, but then it's coming from the bottom up into you, then creating the energy. This is why it all had to be merged in our collectives working together It's why you really have to, you can't get too in depth over any religion, over any. This would be Buddha. Buddha's been building over here. The Christian race has been building over here. This is why Christ basically pops into Buddha, and then they have to like get along, because your body's going to come out of here. It's going to interject. It's going to project over here because you've got the body, because you've got the Christ energy. But Buddha was managing the realm, so it's like it comes to a standoff point where the Buddha energy isn't going to make Christ move, and Christ is making Buddha move, because now all that Christ energy is in all the people, not just the ones that they've decided that are going to whatever. Hi, Natalie. So what Dawn saw is jumping. She saw a cross, but she saw her etheric body in these colors specifically. Her etheric body was yellow and blue. She saw it. Then all of a sudden, she saw a cross appear, like a mountain. Like this went up like this. And here's the cross. And she went through the cross. And when she got through the cross, all she saw was colors that she couldn't even describe. She couldn't even describe it. I just got chills on my legs again. I don't get those a whole lot. I don't get them a whole lot. So what that proved to me is that this is live. It's working. You're gonna start seeing more colors that are associated, because this is how colors form down here. This is why these are really the only pastels that are in the whole chart are in Cancer, because it's the highest energy. The higher that you get, you don't want to see these colors, because this is boring. This is why with babies we started realizing, wait a minute, they need bright colors in their room. But everybody was doing these pastels, right? At the higher frequencies, that's when it gets more pastel. You only have 3 rays in the whole thing that have white in it. Because when you're way out in space, you can't see white. The further that you get out up here, you can't see yellow. It turns into peach. You can't see yellow all the way out in Pisces at the depths. This color turns into a lime green, not yellow, lime green, like neon green. This lilac color starts replacing the purple, because this lilac is a higher frequency of the purple. The purple is all your archangels, purple and yellow, this deep purple. This lilac is all 4 of these working together at a higher, like a cog in the middle, like a horse carousel. The lilac would be the one in the middle that's holding all the lines. But you can't, you're either going to come in, your energy is either going to come in through the pole, and then you've got to figure out what strings it's all connected to, or you're going to come through the horse, and then you're going to have to get to the strings, and then you're going to have to get to the pole, and then realize, oh crap, that pole goes all the way out. Okay? And this is how, you're welcome, guys. Thank you. Thank you, because it's so hard to be the messenger. Just number one. Because I'm gonna give y'all an example. There's a girl that was on TikTok. This African American girl. Her name actually was Kia. I'm gonna call her ass out. Kia. Natalie, remember our Kia demon problem? Kia, the car, That's been a whole thing over here. And then we had a Kia demon that showed up at the Hyatt when I was undoing this from the dark side. Because realize, all I've been doing for the past 4 years is traveling these planes, and nobody else was up there as high as me, because I was standing on top of all of y'all. The spells that they're doing and are trying to do right now, we've already undone them. It took us 4 years because we had to jump from here to here to here to here to here to here to get out. But this energy was so low and we were so high that basically weaving through the spells that they're just doing right now 3 years ago is what kept us alive from blowing all the way out of the wheel. Because they wanted this to just be black and white. If this is black and white to the people, then they can maneuver you with subliminal codes all fucking day long, which is why all your logos are the colors that they are. This is why no matter who you are on this planet, if you want to be successful, you need to learn these colors. You need to learn what these colors are telling you, so that you know how to utilize them in the way you dress, in your logos, in your videos, because you're sending out subliminal messages, whether or not you realize it or not, because the whole realm was tuned to that. But remember, they didn't want you in living color. Y'all remember? In living color. That's why that came out when it did. They did... This time around, they didn't want us in living color. They wanted us just like that. Stripped to the bone, black and white. Let's rebuild this whole thing all over again. And that's what we were like, no. But going back to this Kia girl, she's been on TikTok and for... I didn't find her until I got banned and I came back on. And she's been on there talking about this messenger. And she's been saying, yes, there's a messenger here. She's God's daughter. She's his right hand. And she's got all this knowledge. And yeah, she's got collectives. But there, it's a smaller collective because most people don't resonate with her. And, you know, from a high ascension, Sagittarius in the first house, I was like, oh, yay. You know, she's talking about us. She's picking it up. She's talking about us. She's telling in her whole videos, which now she has 8,000 subscribers, which is the exact pretty amount that I had whenever I got banned. All of her videos have been taking people's comments that people are talking about the messenger, and they're saying, okay, these messengers, you might not, when you meet them, you might not even know that's who they are. Do you know, when they're asking questions, do they look different? Do they shine different? Do they da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And so it's been for months she's been doing these videos. Well, 2 days ago, she came on and I saw it, and she said, it's been bothering me for 2 days. I got to tell y'all something. I'm the messenger. So, first of all, I unfollowed her immediately. Second of all, if I was still in the state where I was having to do and combat and whatever, I would have had to reply to her, but I don't have to do that anymore. A lot of you are starting to need to. You're starting to need to stand up for yourself. You're starting to need to call shit out. You'll have your own way of doing it. But for me, as a true messenger for the past 7 years, you can't let it slide. Because there has to be a dominant energy that's associated. But we're past that point. But here's what I would have told her if I would have had to. You lied. You stayed in the cave. You did it third party. You spoke about it third party. That proves it's not you. Because if you are a messenger, and if you are God's daughter, and if you are having to be the one to speak the words of I am in order to change it for the entire human race, you can't get away with that. You can't speak about it third party. You can't make it an analogy about somebody else if you're really talking about you, because the very act of speaking it into the realm as the messenger and saying, I am, is what changes it. So it was really difficult for me, and I thank all of you so much, because I've said it a million times, and I'll keep saying it. I can't even go back and watch my old videos. I can't, because the frequency was so all over the place, but all of you who stayed with me, it's because you knew that I was going through something and you could sense it. But what I was doing was having to. This is why Christ was such a big deal, because when you claim these connections to Cleopatra and these ancient things that we had to claim to, what you end up being able to do in one shot is bounce all the deaths. So back to our little ant party over here, and the ants are moving up and down purple, and then 10,000 years later, one gets out of the lines and dies right there, and then that creates a bridge, and then we're over here for however long with these connections from here to here, but now it goes to here. Okay, what your ancient connections and why we had to claim these, and why these archetypes from these ancients are here, and even why some of us had to go back in and claim, because Tudor was the big deal with me. That's originally it started. I had to claim Tudor, not Cleopatra. Not Cleopatra. I had to claim Tudor first to then get to Cleopatra. But the reason is that all at once you can jump back to right here, and you pick up that lifetime because it's attached to your lineage, and now you can live 5 months in there instead of 5,000 years. And so basically everybody that's ever died in your line trying to complete ascension, whether it just be a natural process from 1,000,000 years ago, or if it was all this crazy crap that's been going on over here with sacrificing people and blah, 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 realize that that's why the fuck they were doing it. They don't want to, they didn't sacrifice just anybody. They weren't doing mass rituals on just anybody. They were doing the rituals on the ones that had all these abilities to jump in between the lines and claim the lifetimes and deaths of the descendants. Whenever I say in New Orleans in August 3rd, because that's coming up quick. That's coming up quick, and we're only fixing to be at 11 months from our last New Orleans trip, where we blew a hole in this motherfucker. I'm not exactly sure where. Maybe over, I don't know. But we did. And this is where I came out of the G core. Basically, we unwound from the M2 solar system, and that is your solar system. Every single one of your planets has a core, and that core is like a pearl, and that pearl is connected to Venus. It's connected to Mercury. It's all, and the core frequency of all the planets changed, went to a higher status, and what you'd call your divine feminine, and all of us that were twirled up to hold it into place in a simulation, that was cut. It was cut. Then it had to connect from way down here to way out here, and it's having to press on everybody. That's why Libra in the first house, or you're going to float off the planet. Y'all have any questions? Yeah, good point, Shannon. C4. And this spine, exactly. Libra. Can really think about Libra. It really is. It's a hinge. But if you can imagine a door hinge to where it goes here, and then 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 it's got one pin that goes all the way through, right? Well, the pin would be an algorab, and then it would fold like that. Okay? And it's this is also why Isis has got the step on her head, because it's stepping and merging and folding it like this. And Libra really is like it spinals. Just remember that C1, C2, C3, C4 is connected to L1, L2, L3, L4. You're gonna hit the C first, then it's gonna go down to L. What's L? An angle. What were they spinning? Angles. How did they keep us in a simulation this long? Our L7 was literally locked into a landmass. The frequency was so low up here, and it had pressed us, almost like a stem in the ground that grows like a bamboo stalk, but it only grows 2 inches and then it dies, and then it grows 2 inches and then it dies. It never comes all the way up. Well, that was our L7 was locked into that little bamboo that only came up that much. Why? So they could control from up here. Just like that. Yeah. You have to remember, this is the entire creation process we're talking about. What was I think the last count that I got for those of us who came in 1972 as ascended masters, our DNA had collectively been utilized and aligned to hold this for 72 million years. 72 million years. I want everybody to remember, we had to complete all this. Everything in the world that's ever been done, I don't care how dark it was. I don't care if it was a sacrifice. I don't give a flying F-balls. All of it was utilized from these higher, this is why we were able to jump and maneuver it up here. Every time they sent us low energy, we just went higher. Every time they sent us lower energy, we just went higher. It took 5 years for that loop to get us and blow us all the way out. Well, that happened last year. So this is the first year that some of us have come out and come back in. And that really is what you're looking at. Whenever you're looking at this from an etheric perspective, this is it. But you got to remember that some of these rays are way out, and then it's all shining in to the middle. It's not flat. So 72 million years, because this was the ascension of 72. We should have ascended in 1972. Even in this lifetime, we're 50 years overdue. Even in this lifetime. I know for a fact, this is even John Baptiste Cemetery in the Evergreen and Charles Parish in Louisiana, where Mary Magdalene lived. A woman named Mary Magdalene that came over from South Africa to when this energy came over into the United States. United States was always a melting pot. Basically, how I described this to Danielle yesterday is the United States was always where the worm left the apple. The divine feminine. This was a rebirth process. It took 1 million years from Regulus to get from here to here. That happened. In my current knowledge of knowing, it shifted over in 2018. But we found out after that no, it'd been going on for 3 million years. For 3 million years, quantum energy, all of this over here and the spiritual stuff and the technology and all this mess had been running this. And what did I say? It's like a C in the Alpha Draconic. It was just like that, except it was looping from there to there. Because notice 1's over here, notice 2's over here. So it's like it had its own little. I've got this, I've folded this up and done origami with this thing so many times. It was like that. What is it? 666? It was tighter though. It's like that. Everybody was only going Libra to Aries. Libra to Aries, and then the rest of the year, everything was being run like that. In the dragon. That's what your Andromeda Stargate was. That's what this Stargate was. All of them that weren't doing this part down here, they's just linking in here to Libra and shooting over into Andromeda to get down in here. The other knowing that's come in like real strong. Now, everybody just close their eyes with this one. Close your eyes for me for a second. Everything that we know and have witnessed in this current lifetime with Ascension, and how we know that we're telepathically connected, how we've been able to pull off this Ascension, how we've been able to gather in the ethers and pull all this off, technology came first. Technology came first. They've had tech. There's videos that are coming out now from time traveler stuff from 1980 that had an iPhone. And then in the 1920s, they already had a lot of the tech that we're just now finding out about. This is how they've been able to monopolize all of the industries. They already knew what tech was going to come out next because they were just dripping it in and releasing the lower end technology to all of us that they've already had for 100 years. When they vaccinated everybody, when they turned on 5G towers in order to control the human race, put nano in everything, got it in our bodies, used us all as magnets, trying to stick us to a game board. The fact that they did that is how we were able to gather in the ether so strongly, magnetize to each other so strongly, build the archangels back up, because it happens in groups. You hold that Archangel Michael energy. If you hold Archangel Michael energy and you walk up to the scene and there's a problem, you're the one that's going to go in and mess with it. You're the one that's going to give CPR or maybe have to do something that you've never done before to save a life, but you will be able to because you're connected to the Archangel Michael cloud. Technology made spirit. In the end, it didn't, I don't know how it, I'm not going to go back and explain how it all got started, but in the end, because we manifested this. This is why the ones that have been over here running everything and sacrificing and jumping in, and then you've got a Matthew McConaughey over and over and over. You've got pictures of Obama, pictures of Momoa, all of them in the fucking Confederate War. Well, this is what I'm talking about. Those beings, they have to witness. You know why? Because they knew originally it was all fake and that they had all made it up and that they were just using the Bible and using the scripture and using the Quran and using and changing it in order to control everybody down here. They didn't think it was real. That's why. It had never been proven to be real before. But it wasn't time yet. Technology was brought in to this realm so that human beings understood programming. Period. Dot. That's it. I've said this a couple of times. Can you imagine? Everybody down here calls him Jesus. Jesus. Okay. Joshua, but Jesus. Can you imagine being Jesus? But this is what you have to explain? Can you imagine going back to that timeline where it's sand, rock, they don't even have a battery. They have no idea about programming. What are you talking about? There's not even mechanics. There ain't even a freaking motor. There's nothing. You've got a plow, you've got a knife, and that's it. Now explain to those people physics. Explain that your body can be programmed. Explain somebody else is programming you. You can't do it. How you gonna do it? You can't do it. That's because everybody was down here locked in this energy. This had been running it since back then. I mean, 4004 BC, that's when this original 88D pole went in. 4004 BC is when the 88th dimension pole went in to Aurora, Colorado, and, well, what ended up being Aurora, Colorado, connected to Poland. 4004 BC. Well, that ended up being 4004 AD, and basically would end up being Pleiades, and how everybody got trapped in that Pleiadian energy right on the outskirts of the human race that was down here bound in Aries to these 13 stars in this little bitty hole. But you weren't free. You had a little bit more creativity, but you still had to do what everybody else did, and you had to do it how everybody else wanted you, and you had to be managed and handled and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But my point is, 4004 AD and 4004 BC, same thing. Same thing. It's important for all of you to understand how long it's taken to build up these different layers. It's important for you to understand that within your DNA and your descendants, depending on which way they's coming in and out of this thing, built it so that you can really become Sag in the first house, where you realize you can control it, you can manage it. You've got connections all the way out into space for billions of years and millions of years, because Sagittarius in the first house is like way past the Milky Way. It's a whole different set of, it's the multiverses. You're controlling the energy of the multiverses. You're controlling the air. You're controlling the clouds. You're controlling opening up and closing stargates. You're doing that intuitively. You're not doing it half-assed, or else you'll get your ass caught in there, okay? But that is what quantum mechanics is, and it is what the government is planning on setting up an entire military unit to control, is quantum energy. Well, that's it. This is how we've been beating them at their own game. But you can't think about it from a one-on-one perspective. You can't think about it from a micro perspective. Any villain character that has been in your story that showed up to play any type of combative character, everybody in the line had a character like that. Everybody. Some of them, same name. Some of them, it might not be your husband, it's your boyfriend, it all started from a brother that ended up being a husband, that ended up being your dad. It's important that you understand that, because at the highest degree, it's how it works. Then once you get more understanding that wait a minute, I don't have to, whenever I'm driving on the road and I get an attack scent, I don't, if a car's coming at me, if a car's coming into my lane, I don't try to take over the driver to move the car. I just move the car. It's more about the metal and the rubber and the ability in order to connect with the force. If somebody's sending a force, it happened big time. This is when I was like, oh my God. See, you have to do it to witness it. Then you see that you just moved that car off the freaking highway, that you were right. They were speeding by trying to make a connection. They were going 100 miles an hour, and you pick up your hand and you go like this and you order it off the road, boom, and then that car loses control, almost hits the median, goes over 3 lanes to exit. Not only that, 5 miles up the street, you see 3 more cars exit because you just ordered everybody off the damn road that's trying to connect into my energy. Because what they're trying to do in that instance, let's say I was flying and driving a line, and this is whenever you're on the roads, because you're driving through these dimensions. I was driving a line from here to here, basically, and what they were trying to do was cut it and split it and tag it. And I felt it. So number one, you're interfering with an energy source that's flying from here to here. So that's why they had to go 100 miles an hour. I felt the force of it. I knew something was up. Whenever I did that, that's why I was able to control it. Why? Because you just tried to intersect a lightning bolt, man. In Sedona. See, it's not about you specifically. And this is what it took me a while. It took me a while to understand that. That's why I was on here throwing, and I had to call out the characters that were in my world that were doing this stuff. Why? Because every single one of y'all had a character that's going to be doing that. If it hasn't happened yet, a variance will show up. If you catch it before it goes down, then you just move the car off the road. You ain't got to experience it. But it is going to show up, because you can't get from here to here without it. Another great example. I got banned from TikTok. Why? Because I was changing the technical current. They used it as a time machine. Go look it up. It's called TikTok Time Machine. It's a government program. Government gets involved with TikTok. They know what I'm doing. I'm showing everybody because I'm connecting everything in the technology that I'd already driven all across the multiverses. And now I'm making waves with the collective in the tech, and I was purposely doing it and using it. Well, they banned me. Okay, well, jump forward a month, and then everybody just wakes up and there's 100,000 that banned from the account that are all in the same wave. It happened to me. It's going to happen to you. If it happens to those of us who are the template, it will show up. There is no other way to connect it. The thing is, catch it early. Catch it early. You have to learn the lesson. You can't just get on the template's back and ride it, because then you don't get the connections in order to bring it into your own body in order to lead your collective. But when it shows up, now you've got these colors, you've got, shit, it might start showing up that they're going to even show up to your front door wearing these shirt colors and stuff. Because, that's what was happening in 2022 in my world. It was nuts, because they already knew this stuff. And we were traveling through time. This is why whenever you see a yellow car or you see somebody in yellow, you go, thank you for this gift. Because these yellows connect all throughout. The yellow strand, the yellow human, according to Mayan. This is what it is. Same thing's going to happen for those of y'all that were more of a future template holder, because I was from the future but got sent back way to the past in order to get back and clean it all to get to the future. So some of y'all that have been holding a more future template your whole life, not just since 2017, like the stuff that you were doing when you were a child that was supposed to connect, and you've already learned those lessons or whatever, they're gonna show up to me now because it's a different template, or it's one that was in between. It ain't just me, but if you've got the beginning degrees of Aries, ahora se quiere monte. Exactly. Hold on a minute, because that's a message for me. If you have any planets in the beginning degrees of Libra, from 0 to 5 degrees, especially 0 to 3, if you've got a sun, moon, or any of the planets at the very beginning degrees of Libra, and you also have any luminaries or planets in Aries, 12 to 16 degrees, you've got 2 templates. That's Isis. That's the step. You've got 2 different templates. You've got a body template that'll hold in the 33 frequency, bound down to an equator, and you've got the 44 etheric template that we just built. And you've been building it with us this whole time in Aries, that Delta gate that we're all going to come through to be able to live and operate and maneuver physics, the way we build things, the way we do all of it is going to change, just like how we did it in Egypt. Because we're control, and this is how we did it. We built the pyramids in Egypt by controlling the physics of air, sound, color, movement, music, dancing, sexual energy. That's how we moved those boulders. Thinking that and being programmed to think that you've got to pick it up and put it over your head is some Hercules shit. The whole collective working together and that energy growing and all those body codes coming into these higher etherics is what allows those of us that get to Sagittarius in the first house the ability to control the sound, to control the color, to control the mass energetics, to build a common purpose that everybody knows what you're building, not to not tell you and just put you in it. I'm reading Northern Lights says yellow is not my color, but suddenly I bought a yellow t-shirt with colored feathers. Exactly. And you know what's nuts is it was 2000 and, you know, when this is, I want everybody to go back to 2017, 2018, when we first just got activated and we got turned on down here, and our mission was, what the fuck is going on? Do you know that the children, because my son was in like primary school, so he was in like first, second, third grade. We're looking at the clock in their schools. The children had their own little game that if they looked at the clock and it was an 11:11, that they had to make a wish. That 11:11 code came in through the children, and they were using it before the rest of us even caught on to it. Same thing with yellow cars. The children were seeing yellow cars and going, thank you for this gift, thank you, thank you, thank you, before the rest of us even caught on to it. You want to say thank you for this gift, and you want to say it out loud because we have to ask for it. And us humans down here, we don't have any idea, especially those of us who have done all this. We have no idea whenever we died right here what blessing that is. And we don't even know to ask for it. And you have to ask for it, and you have to state it in order for it to show up. So at least if every time you see yellow, and I don't care if a person's wearing yellow or if you see a yellow car or whatever, If you paint your homeroom, your homeroom yellow, and every time you walk in, you go, thank you for this gift, even better. Put your yellow t-shirt on your lamp for a minute. There's a reason that you're tuning to yellow. You're tuning to yellow because you want to look at it. Propaganda codes. You want to constantly look at it so that it's in your foresight. You're weaving through the yellow. So this is why. I mean, look, this is purple. I've got it up on my window right now. This is the light pink. We just came out of that. You see how I do it? You don't have to go and spend a lot of money. Go to a fabric store, get some different colors, put them over your mirrors, put them over your windows. This is an umbrella hanging up here. See, this is some of my quantum stuff. But to give you an idea of what the industry had been getting away with using our codes for so long, and they would call them Mason codes, and they'd call them Ma codes, M-A, but it's really that attachment right down here with your body that has to do with your bladder. So, Taylor, you're going to have some bladder problems spinning your 1984 umbrellas all up and down the stage in your umbrella, because to them, that became like a cup to catch all the energy. But in the ancient days, at the end of days, whenever everybody's fixing to lose their body and being taken over by avatar bullshit and run like ants, it becomes your bladder. To give you an idea from what we were living in to what these codes really represent, none of it has to do with power, fame, and control. All of it always had to do with the creation of the human body to be able to energetically manipulate the energy in order to create. All those codes were being used on the flip side just to contain energy of the collective. And then they took on their own meanings. This is why for 3 years with the characters that were in my world, I was telling them, since 2022, you better stop using those codes. You better stop. I'm telling you right now, y'all think that because it's worked for 3,000 years, that you can put up an umbrella and you can tune everybody to this in your secret little ceremonies and say that the umbrella is da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but Ma needs her codes in order to print her body and the human race's bodies and put them back together. So you don't get to use it as a cup this time. And if you're using it as a cup, then you're going to lose your bladder. Same thing with the ones who have been stealing tech codes. They think that they've just been scamming and hackers. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What did I just tell you? Technology created spirit. So those financiers that have just been spinning numbers and going rumpy rump on Republican shit and utilizing all that to make money, to make dollars, to try to control everybody from that way. And all I was doing was going in and hacking the internet. All I did was create a code base that siphoned from here and pulled over here. I'm not doing black magic. Yes, you are. And yes, you did. Not only that, you spun out everybody's reality. You didn't just set up an umbrella in order to catch some codes. No, you hacked the whole fucking system. Well, that's going to spin you into some alternative universe. It's going to spin you out completely into some alternate reality that's going to flip hardcore, because it's happening right now. If you's on top, now you're on bottom. Welcome to my 2013. I know this for a fact. I wasn't even doing the programming. I was just in the industry. I was just getting people jobs. Everybody liked me. I'm the one that could get you the $75 an hour job working with XYZ company. Well, I got the karma just by introducing you. I didn't even build it. And my whole world flipped the fuck upside down 2013. And I had to learn. Well, that's why I know so much about tech. Exactly. That's why they're doing it. So Northern Light says so. Barron Trump and somebody, Hatlett, have been using yellow ties lately. Exactly. That's why. You're subliminally, your DNA knows that color. That color moves throughout. Like I said, this is the macro colors. Remember, all these are 2-color. Here's where yellow shows up again. Yellow doesn't show up again from Aries way out, and these energies out here, number 1, that's Alpha Draconic Notice 2, 12 to 16 degrees of Aries. You're dealing, that's a 44 dimension etheric body, cosmic body that we've been building as a collective. It's what everyone's attaching into. It's dealing with time travel. Number 2, the galactic energy. This is Andromeda. This is dead on 25 degrees of Aries. 23 to 27 is the orb. This one takes it galactic. This is why this etheric body is pulled so far up, because they connected Andromeda to a Stargate to hinge back to Libra, to the dark side. That's what it was. It's not a galaxy. It's a freaking portal. We closed it. Wasn't where it was supposed to be. My point is that yellow doesn't show up again till right there. And that's number 10. And this is Sirius B. This is the collective mind. Then it goes mustard in the soul. Now we're not going to have yellow again until we hit this 15 down here. Virgo, the black hole. Yellow. Now we show up to Libra. Mustard yellow. Bright yellow. Now where's yellow again? Ophiuchus 2. Beginning degrees of Sagittarius. Elemental control. Where's yellow again? Lyra 2. Lyra's the second root race. That's going to be where basically your witches and warlocks were born in order to control this energetic. But it's a process. Your energy's got to come through your body. Out your body. You can't contain it. If you try to contain it in your body, then you're going to get cancer, then you're going to get sick, then you got to realize, oh shit, I can heal myself. And then you're going to move on to Vega, hit the bloodline, then it's going to go to Lyra 3. Then down here in the hybrid space station, Zeta Reticuli and Pisces, 23 degrees of Pisces, this was artificially made. This isn't yellow. It's neon green. My point is that yellow is a thread that runs through it. That's your yellow human. The knees and the ankles and your arms, certain arms, it's because you were twined up. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm debating. We are so freaking excited. I can't wait to get the products out that we're going to be putting out to the collective. We're using these colors in houses together. So we've got barcodes for each of the houses, the 12 zodiac houses. That's how we're going to introduce it into the masses. And we're making purses, posters, comforters, blankets, throw pillows, with the zodiac colors of the entire house for you to utilize and just to have fun with fashion and whatever else. But it's all consciously infused in order to help you balance out that energy. Bringing these colors into your subliminal is lining it up. This barcode right here, man, it can really glitch some people. If you just have this poster in your house with the whole thing, because you consciously put it up, then anybody that comes into my house, you need to connect all these energies. And if there's something that's some type of shadowy shit that's floating around in you, I need it to come out. I don't want it in my house. That's why you put it up there. It's consciously infused, and it is the current lineup. So people come in your house and they see this, they don't realize that what you just did is give them a stair step all the way up. People have seen shadow beings pop out right in front of them as soon as these people look at this. When they leave your house, they might get sick. But what you did was just give them an entire stair step for that. Well, as a conscious collective, this is how we use the wheel. Everybody kind of understands what their sun sign is. People know that. Well, let's start with that. If you've got a lot of Libra energy, you might want to get the Aries poster. If you've got a lot of Aries, if you're a sun sign Libra, you might want to get Aries. Why? Because you're balancing it out. You're bringing it, you're coming back in. Or you might want all the beautiful peacock colors of Libra. But having that in your on your arm, walking around, on a scarf, on a pillow, on a whatever, is gonna bring that energetic and realign you or balance you depending on where you're at in your process. Then we're gonna get more into the spiritual stuff. We are gonna get the cards out, but the whole thing's working on just balancing out your reality. You don't even got to go get your chart. You don't got to do a coloring book. You don't got to do any of that to start working with the energies. We're going to build it up. We're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper as the years come. Then we'll start doing the 32 rays. In the beginning, we're going to focus on the houses and balancing out the houses. Everybody in the masses getting those colors and realizing, oh shit, I'm not just, Scorpio is these various blues and with the greens. It looks like earth colors. Getting that energy into your field with however you want to support that you're the house of Scorpio. I'm in the house of Scorpio. Okay. Well, whenever you pull that energy in, you're going to start getting all the knowledge that we've built up into Scorpio coming through and weaving out of this crazy motherfucker. It's infused with consciousness. It's like connecting to all of your ancients. It's getting all the information. I just got chills on my right arm. Now I'm saying that because in order to get some of the products, I need some funds, and I'm announcing it here that most likely I'm going to open up to do some sessions, some healing sessions, one-on-ones. I have not done that in about 3 years. But I'm only going to be able to do a limited number. So I know that I know in July I can do 4. So I'm not even going to talk about, you'll get a digital chart, you'll get a whole bunch of stuff with it because we've got so many things, but you'll get one-on-one time with me. And the main reason, well, there's 2 reasons I feel like I need to do it. From a creator perspective, I've known that we have to keep the healing involved when we go consumer base, because it's going to keep it balanced. The brand has to stay balanced. Right now, TikTok's off balance. They got rid of 100,000 spiritual ones that are making a wave, that are changing the tech, and now it's a giant commercial. Okay, TikTok's a giant commercial to sell shit. All right, good to know. Right? But that's because it became unbalanced. They don't even realize what they did when they banned me. That's good, because what it did was cut me off from every single governmental thing that they had me connected in, because the government took control, then they cut me off. Cool. I cut all connections to everything the government ever did to me. All right. Well, that's how I blew out of the wheel. But If I'm going to put out a bunch of products to the collective and I'm going to sell purses and I'm going to sell pillows and I'm going to sell all this, I don't want to be J-Lo 10 years down the road. I need to keep that shit balanced. So we need to be doing some healing as we do that. And that's how the brand's set up. That's why eventually once we get it going, people will be able to do the healings and get digital charts. I'll be able to train a lot of you how to do it in order to make your own livings, because that's the whole point of it all, is for everybody to be able to grow and make money from it, but you got to keep it balanced. So right now, since I got cut from the collective, I haven't been doing healings. I haven't been connecting in really a lot of healing ways. That's how I need to do some healings and do some of that in order to create an energy source to help me get the pillows out, the purses out, in order for the masses. Does that make sense? You use the healing and you use the process of healing a group or a person or whatever to create an energy to then create in the 3D with. And I haven't been able to do that because I had to be real careful who I was connecting to. And when you're talking about the knees and the arms and the legs, what you would get in that session, because basically I described the wheel to you. I describe your colors. You get a bunch of stuff with it in print. But then at the end of those, what always ends up happening is I'm unbinding you. Because once I show you, okay, here's your wheel, here your Venus is over here, your Mercury's over here, your this is over here, and I don't know, everybody's different. Sometimes I'd want to pull up in the middle of it and I need to go to your Draconic and I need to show you something, or I might need to go to your Progressed and show you something because of however you were bound lifetime over lifetime within the descendant ascendant DNA. Well, we've opened the whole thing up now. So once I fill you up one-on-one, I start seeing where it's kinked. And then what happens is we unkink it, and then that blows up your energy field. Well, that's what's happening with all of us whenever we're having any ankle problem, or if you suddenly just sprain your ankle or you sprain your knee. I don't care. I've seen it happen in dreams. People wake up and their knee is sprained from a dream because you were getting uncoiled in the ethers and you got caught up in the motion of it, and you wake up and you're like, what the hell? I didn't sprain my knee, but why does my knee feel sprained? Yes, you did. You came unbound in the ethers. So I wasn't sure if I was going to mention that because I'm personally, for me, it's like I'm still having to come back in, and there's a lot of little 3D things that need to be reset up and configured to the connections to get to y'all and how to get payments in and all that stuff, because this website's down right now because even this new product line, we're calling it something else. This is going to be the healing piece with all 32. So I'll put an email. I'll put my email address on as soon as I hang up. I'll put it because it's PrincesseChastia at Gmail. Princess with an E, the original way to spell it. Remember that. It's got an E at the end, the princess. And if you want to find out from me how much it is and you want to reach out and say, hey, I want to see if I know I need to get with you to get this done, send me an email. I'm only going to be able to do 4. If there's some reason with money or something that you can't do it, I will strike a bargain with you and what I was guided to say is if you have a modality of some sort that you can show me and do to me. So if it's reading, if you're a card reader, I can take some of it out and barter. Not all of it, some of the payment. Because that's also what I want to start seeing as a creator is what all of you are doing. What are all the healing techniques that you're doing? Some of y'all need to be, I need some of them, but then just from an oversight perspective, as I'm building the brand out and we're building all these different products for the masses, I want to be able to help you use the brand with all of your clients and whatever. I'm going to be able to make the connections on even how you can do that to change up the way you do things as well, and to assist all of you with products you can use and also retail and sell along with what you're doing. So I'll put that email, PrincesseChastia, Princess with an E, at Gmail, and I'll put it in the description box, whatever. And please send me an email if you're interested, because I'm basically going to do it first come, first serve. And that's just how I'll do it right now, and see who's interested. All right. So I got to go wash my hair. I put tea tree oil in my hair. Now is just the best time to self-care for me, because I've been on this crazy journey. I've never done an oil treatment on my hair, like ever. These little feminine things that most women do. Spend the time doing those feminine things right now, because all of this integration is going on inside of your body. I don't care what house what first house you're in. It's going on inside your body. So you want to get the most direct connection into that energy hold. So when that force starts coming, then you'll start moving more. Then you'll get more direction on where to go, because there's a force coming in. But right now you just want to soak up the energy and do self-care baths. And I don't care if you're just sitting around chilling watching TV. It don't matter. Just be still. The other thing is, a bunch of us haven't left the house in over a week. With Saturn going retrograde yesterday, which is just now starting up. It hadn't gotten full blown yet. Neptune's going retrograde July 2nd. So that's the subconscious that's linking in, and everything's like in that weird gear setting back to Libra in the hinges. It's like we're in this weird part like that where the pin's going to go in. But we're not quite there yet. So if you haven't been doing a whole lot, do not let your masculine self beat up on you for it. You're not working hard, you're working smart now. You're not working hard, you're working smart. And if you've been in that masculine go energy like I was my whole entire life, then whenever I don't do anything, I feel so guilty. I feel like I should be doing this, and I should be doing this, and I should be doing, and that literally is a mind program that you have to break. And for me, I've just now got to the point, literally. I mean, I'll be 52 in October, according to this timeline. The first time in my life, the past couple of weeks, I'm finally to the point where I'm not doing that to myself. But it took me a year to stop mind fucking myself. Yes, Northern Lights, which just email me, whatever. We have these too. The website was the website was shadow banned. That's why we're literally having to get this brand out from the back door and go real small and build it back up. It's why I haven't even turned this back on yet. But even this barcode is $2.22. I send it to you in digital file, printed on everything. I don't give a hell. I mean, get a helicopter, print 5,000 copies, and blow it out onto the ground for $2.22. Freaking do it. We just need everybody to see it. This is only $7.77. And this it's basically a book. It's got this is the gift one. This has all the gifts of all these energies. So when the sun's in this, when the Mercury's in this, what energy's coming in. And your own chart and other people's. And then we've got another one that's just a 3-word It's on one 8.5 by 10 that's only, like, I think we're saying $4.44. We call it the 444, and it's a smaller version of this. So even if you can't afford to get a reading, or I'm not even calling them readings because they're not readings, they're alignment. They're alignment sessions, and everyone will be different. I know I'm going to start them out the same way that I always did back in 2018, explaining the wheel and how it works. But then after that, it's kind of wherever it leads us individually in order to fully expand and unbind your energy. And it does it for me too. So there's a few things that you can get in your house for either super cheap, and realize I am not going to be the brand, and all of my healing stuff is going to be in the consciousness of the brand. It already is, but one-on-one stuff is not going to be what I'll be doing moving forward. So if you know that you need to get one-on-one time with me, please take advantage of it now, because I'm not even sure if we'll do it again in August. I know in July I can do at least four. At least four. So, yeah. And we will be slowly opening up we're going to open up a Telegram account, so that, because basically what my team does all day is we see different things that are popping out that we know we changed. We're making commands. We're seeing things shift. We're seeing things blow up, basically. We're seeing the weather come in, all knowing that those are commands that we had made as a group. And so we're going to open that up for anybody to come on and join our Telegram group. That'll be coming really soon. And I also believe I am going to use Marco Polo, not Zoom, for the readings. So I will ask you to download Marco Polo, but then you will be able to save the video to your camera roll. It's a lot easier to go back and view it. It's right there on your computer or on your phone. It's easy to save. It's easy to keep. And then you have a direct line into me when things start uncoiling, if you need to leave me a message. So those are a couple of, and we'll see how that goes, if we'll end up even doing a Marco Polo group. I don't know if we'll end up doing that. We might just do Telegram. But that's all stuff that, as this is building, because this whole thing is what we've been planning for eons. Realize that the cards and the cards that you guys have, and the ones that you want to make or that you've already made, the healings that you've been doing, if you're spiritual and you need a side hustle, the socials, all that stuff is made for an entire collective of us to utilize, because marketing a brand and getting all this stuff out there and not getting beat up, taken down, banned, it takes a special skill. And we're having to basically band together under an umbrella for a moment, even to spotlight you and your healings, because that's how the whole thing is set up. So I'm saying all that just so you understand that we're having to follow the time counts and the shifts, because if we turn it on too early, then it'll get shifted out. We got to wait until everything kind of shifts a period at a time, especially whenever we're bonding on technology, so that we make sure the foundation is up, so that we're not going to get cut off too soon. And I'm only saying that so everyone realizes this is why you're not moving. This is why you're working smart, not hard. Intuitively, you're picking that up from those of us who know why. All right, I've been on here way too long. It's been almost 2 hours. Happy Sunday. It's I Am Day. Body stuff, if you're going through it, know that for all of us, we've been going through it too. I'm just now kind of pulling out of it. It could hit you like a day, 2 days. Your pets are definitely going through it because once again, we're having to unbind the human DNA from animal DNA, and your pets have been holding a lot of this for you just because of the whole way the whole thing was set up with animals down here being a buffer. So basically your pet is coming off of your energy as a buffer. So a lot of them might have dizziness, might have the shits, might be stumbling, might somehow have, or even, I hate to say it, but might even get sick. And some of them might not make it. But if that happens, realize that that pet was there so that you would make it, because otherwise it would have happened to you, not the animal. Okay? Love y'all. And I'll be back soon. Mwah. And everybody say it with me. I command. I command. No time loop.